Good morning, everybody. Hope you've had a great week, and I thank you for being here this morning. If you want to follow along, you can join me in the book of Genesis, Genesis chapter 38. Going to look at one verse, and I'm going to go down a little bit of a rabbit hole here for a moment, but a couple thoughts that cross my mind as I look at this verse. It says, "It happened at that time that Judah went down from his brothers and turned aside to a certain Adullamite whose name was Huha." Uh, Judah is leaving away, going away from his family. Um, it says he's leaving, he goes down from his brothers, not from his father. I think that has some importance. It appears maybe Judah's wanting to get away from his brothers, maybe the grief that is in their home because of Joseph, and Jacob's grieving over Jacob or over Joseph. Maybe he's ashamed, eat up with guilt over the lies that they told their father, and his grief, and they're disturbed um, by that. Hard to say. Again, this whole thing is interesting because most of the rest of the book here is going to focus on Joseph. But here, for we step away for just a moment from Joseph to talk about Judah, who ends up inheriting the blessing of Abraham. And again, this whole family this is a mixed up family, as you've probably figured out by now. It was Judah that came up with the idea of selling Joseph as a slave, and the rest. This next piece of this story is going to let us really see just how mixed up he was, the mixed up fella and a mixed up family. But just I guess the question will always remain. I don't know if we'll ever have a clear answer of exactly why Judah, for whatever reason, decided to go away from his family. I think it's fair, as some who have written about this passage, that he had a guilty conscience. That every time he saw his father, he remembered what he had done. Every time he saw one of his brothers, he knew what they had done. No doubt Joseph's name came up plenty of times in conversation, and Judah was feeling guilty. I think that's a safe assumption. Sin has a way of doing that. It has a way of haunting, has a way of hanging over our head. And Judah certainly has reason for feeling ashamed, for feeling guilt. And that being said, that makes good sense as to what's going on here. Unfortunately, he's handling it wrong again. Now, Judah, instead of dealing with his sin, instead of confessing his sin, he leaves really the only godly influence that he has in his father, and now his life is going to spiral out of control. You could make the argument at this point, when it says he turned aside to a certain Adullamite, that by turning aside, he's actually turning his back on God and the things that he's refusing to get right. He's refusing to confess. He's just trying to cover up this horrible thing that he and his brothers have done. Now, I will quickly admit that that's all speculation. I don't know for sure why Judah left. I don't know what he was feeling. I don't know if he was feeling shame or guilt, or if he ever even thought about Joseph again. But I do know this, um, that running and hiding from our sin is not the answer. Running away from God is not the answer. Someone said, I'm not going to get this worded exactly the way the original said it, but said, that when some people, when they're faced with issues and problems, uh, run away from God. But who are they running to? Where do you run? If you run away from God, where do you run to? If you don't turn to God, to your family, to your friends, then where are you going to turn? Where are you going to look for counsel? Where are you going to look for wisdom and comfort? Certainly, where are you going to look for forgiveness if you turn away from God? And perhaps I'm speaking to someone very clearly this morning. That is, as we talk, you feel like, hey, he's reading my mail. You're trying to hide something. You're trying to cover something up. There's something in your past, or even something in your just your near past, just recently, that you're trying to cover up and hide and run from. Um, you can't outrun it. God sees all. God knows all, and the best place to run is to run to Him with whatever you're dealing with. All right, you think about it. You have a good day. We'll see you here Monday morning.